Hello everyone, it's Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life, and I'm here for day 3. Is it 3? No, it's day 4. Day 4 of 20 days of Christmas and summer cut files from Confessions of a Paper Addict. I am still working through with Christmas, so today's theme is all about baking, and I have 2 sets of photos. So I've got one of my kids actually putting cookies on a cookie sheet, and then them doing the gingerbread house from last year. This is last year, this was 2 years ago. So I'm not exactly sure which way I'm gonna go, but I have got my cut file, and I just wanted to do this part live because everyone's in a different place, right? So I do not have a full 12 by 12 die cutting machine. I have goes to the 8.5 by 11 size. It's called the Silhouette Portrait. But I wanted to do this full border effect. And yes, it was time intensive. Yes, it's annoying. All of these things that if you just had the 12 by 12 silhouette would make things a lot easier, but I don't. And I'm not about to fork out a whole bunch of money to buy one when I have a working cut file thing that for the most part works perfectly for what I need it. So what I did is I strategically cut them where I knew they were going to, so like this ornament is going to match up to this star, and I just have to line them up. And I haven't done that part yet, but they're just going to line up where they're supposed to go. And the same thing with the gingerbread and the tree and the house and the tree and the star and the house. So it ends up being the full border. I just had to do it in little pieces. So I just wanted to share that with you because it's a little bit different than maybe what you'd expect from a cut file when it's supposed to be a border, but that's how I'm doing it. I'm gonna decide on a background. I'm gonna back it all and do all that fun stuff, but I wanted to show that to you. There it's coming. But yeah, so that's what's going on. The theme is baking, and let's get you on fast forward. Also, please make sure you check out all the links down below for who else is playing along today.
The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the little knots that I had left in. I wanted to be really careful about doing this because I wasn't sure how they were actually going to connect until I really looked at it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get those all kind of lined up, figure out where they need to go. And they do line up perfectly, which is awesome. They worked the way I needed them to, so that was good. And now I'm going to go ahead and figure out what I want to do to back each one of these little cookies, because that's what they're supposed to represent. Are these? It's a Christmas cookie border. I'm going to go ahead and do one with I wanted to get the rainbow on there. It's just, this was from last year, and of course last year being what it was, I wanted to have that representation, and rainbows kind of represented that in the middle of it, the pandemic. So I'm going to go ahead and use that, kind of decide where I want that to get placed. And this is what I do. I just keep going back and forth, lining them up until I get them all down where I want it. Really happy with how they turned out. I did try to make sure to space out the colors and have visual triangles and all of that happen. So I'm pretty pleased with the results. Gonna decide between the 2 sets of photos I had, and I know it was very, very quick, but my decision is the gingerbread photos, just because I feel like they're fun and playful, and they kind of match the mood that's happening a little bit more than the ones of them just placing the cookies on the cookie sheet. So that's what I'm going with. I, for a quick moment, thought about switching them and using that pink background instead of this white grid one, but I actually like how it works off of this white grid in the end. I am going to go ahead and do a border in the green that I have here. I liked it when I was looking at it as a whole. I liked the little top border, which is just the branding strip that, you hang it up on. And so I trimmed that off, but then I used it as a border with the actual 12 by 12 sheet of paper that I had. Gonna line it all back up, put my photos on, and then embellish accordingly. This particular one is kind of nice because the cut file really does the work for you. That is one nice thing about having large cut files. It's not something I do very often, but it really does kind of take out the work because you just have to add just these little bits and pieces and it's done. And so you're going to see me do that. And while we watch that, I'll mention a couple things. I back every other cookie with fun foam. So it's kind of got this nice little in and out dimension going on. And then my photos, like I said, they're of my kids making gingerbread. So we got one gingerbread house that last year, and we all worked on it together, and we all kind of got a side to work on, and it was kind of fun. It was quite the adventure, but in it there's also these little tiny gingerbread cookies to go on top of them, and Nora and Barrett were all about decorating that more so than the house itself. But it was fun. They all had a great time. They ate a little bit of it, and it stayed up, which was a good thing, because normally when we create these gingerbread houses, Sean and I aren't patient and they collapse. But this one stayed up, so that was awesome. And I love the photos. I love that close one of Nora too. It's just a good photo of her. So that's what the photos are. And then to title this, I'm just going to call it Making Gingerbread, because that's pretty much what they're doing. I mean, it's a gingerbread house, and I could elaborate, and maybe in my journaling I will. You kind of get the point with the photos though, so it's not a big deal. But I have these Jen Hatfield Peaceful Heart alphas that have the same yellow tone to them as that little gingerbread that I backed. And so now I'm getting a nice kind of idea of creating a visual triangle with that, because that yellow is kind of there, like it's really kind of pops in your face. So I have to do something to make it absorb a little bit, if that makes sense. So what I end up doing is the little bell on that chipboard sticker there, you're going to see me pull it out right now. I'm going to put that over on the bell that has the snowflake on it. And now I have the perfect visual triangle of the yellow, and just adding that, I know it sounds silly, but it absorbs the brightness of it and doesn't make it seem out of place anymore. So something to just keep in mind if you're struggling and you feel like something's off balance. Find the color that's bugging you and add it and see if it helps. And if it doesn't help, it means you should probably take that color away or dim it down a little bit. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of look through my last little bits and pieces, and that's going to do it. So I'm really happy with how this one turned out. Super cute. I think it's playful, totally works with the theme, and I'm happy to have another Christmas layout created. So there you go. Please make sure you check on the links below and see what everyone else is doing today. I'm excited to see all the different takes on baking. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of different things. So I'm excited for that. And here's a look at my finished layout for today. I did end up adding some sequins at the very end. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, everyone.